try Rotary garlic crackers. Now, these are made with a flour that's based on tapioca and garlic. It's also got salt and sugar, and it also has MSG. So if you are opposed to MSG, you don't want to get this. This is an Indonesian product, and you can see the nutrition facts if you want to pause. It is halal, so if you are a Muslim or even if you're a Jew, this is accepted to eat, because Muslims and Jews have very similar restrictions on food, although I would say probably, well, I don't know. I can't say which one is more restrictive, especially since there's a difference between kosher and parv. So I couldn't say if halal is closer to kosher or parv, but it's at least kosher, I would think. All right. So this is, if you take a look, when they are pouring this, and basically what they do is they make the flour, and then they use a pot that has holes in the bottom, and then they spin it in such a way that it creates these nice circles, although they don't always get it right, but you know. So as you can see, they're attractive looking. These are extremely popular in Indonesia, although the largest variety of them are made with fish or shrimp. I am not fond of the fish and shrimp ones because they tend to have that fishy flavor that I'm not in love with. These are generally going to be because they're fried flour. That's my cat looking for something to play with. Because they're fried flour. They should be light, crispy. They should not feel soggy. Now, one thing I should warn you about when it comes to krupuk, or these crackers, is you can't leave them out in the open because they absorb any moisture in the air and become stale. In Indonesia, you would say melempem. But these krupuk, which is Krupuk, are sensitive to moisture, and they're usually kept in special metal containers that keep the temperature cool and keep the moisture out. And I would definitely recommend that you transfer these to a resealable container if you have one. Otherwise, make sure you use a nice clip to keep the bag closed. Otherwise, you're going to open it up and you're going to find out it's all kind of soggy and stale tasting. That said, even if it is like that, if you've forgotten and left it out, these are great in a soup. Okay, these are often used in different kinds of meals, but if you want to use something that's gone stale and you're not sure how to bake it or microwave it or whatever to bring back that crispness, you can go ahead and just put it in whole or in pieces into soup, and it will be like a substitute for noodles. Granted, there'll be a fair amount of oil that comes out of them, but it will be enjoyable, and you won't notice any problems with sogginess because they'll be soaked, and they'll taste just fine. So, I'm going to set this one aside because I actually have an open one. Now, if this was, I'm going to tell you right now, these are not my favorite by a long shot. The flavor's fine. The problem is that whoever was making this, they didn't make the flour in the right proportions, so it's actually a thicker, heavier, or denser than usual. This, normally you can very easily snap this with your fingers. I'm gonna try. So yeah, you can do that with this, but what I noticed, not so much with this particular one. I mean, the bag's almost empty, right? But many of them, it was very dense. Now, denseness comes from two things. It comes from flour that was made with incorrect proportions, or it comes from not cooking it quite long enough. If you get it not quite long enough, krupuk, which naturally in its pre-fried state there are two ways you can do it. You can either make a dried form, or you can make a wet form. This is probably a dried form, but I have no way of knowing for sure. But you would take it in the dried form and you'd put it into boiling oil, and then it would puff up like this. Because normally it'd be like that big, or something like that. It'd be very, very small. Here, I think I have some. Let me show you. Wow, man, I'm noisy. Okay, so in the dried form, there are different kinds. This one's a very popular type that's sold in Indonesia. As you can see, these are small chips. These chips get to be about that big when they're cooked. And then the other kind that I have here is the rectangular ones. And as you can see, they're also quite small. These also get probably double this size when you cook them. So I don't know. The density is not consistent. The ones that were at the top of the bag were much denser than this one. So it could be that they undercooked it. But certainly, if you go from this to this and undercook it, it's going to be hard to eat. And in that case, I recommend just throwing it in soup or something to soften it up enough to be it, so you don't break your teeth. But this is fine. The taste is fine. If you like a fishy flavor, you can look for ones that are made with fish. You can look for ones that are made with shrimp. There's another type that uses a special machine that takes a little disc that's about that big. You put in the machine, in 1 second it's puffed up to a cracker about that big, using, I guess, high heat. I really don't know. That's kind of a novelty thing in some of the supermarkets. You can buy them like that. Puff them up yourself. So Rotary, please be consistent about the density, because when I first started eating this bag, I was very disappointed because it was just almost unpleasantly dense. But hey, hopefully it was just a fluke and I won't experience it with the other bag that we haven't opened yet. Anyways, thank you so much for watching my review of Rotary Krupuk, or crackers, and have a great day.